You believe you are in control of your life. You wake up, make choices, and imagine that every decision is yours. But beneath the surface, almost everything you do is programmed by forces you rarely notice. The desire to be accepted, the fear of rejection, the endless pursuit of security, and above all, the illusion of freedom. From the moment you were born, you were trained. Parents told you how to behave. Teachers told you how to think. Society rewarded you when you obeyed, and punished you when you didn't. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, you became a prisoner of rules you never created. You shaped your life to fit expectations that were handed to you, long before you were even old enough to understand them. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Think about that. Most people live entire lives believing they are steering the ship, when in reality, invisible winds of fear and conditioning push them endlessly off course. You work in a job you secretly hate because you were told success looks like money and status. You buy things you don't need because advertisements whisper that your worth is tied to possessions. You pursue relationships, not out of love, but out of terror at the idea of being alone. And in this endless cycle, you call yourself free. But are you? Or are you enslaved by chains you cannot see? Fear is the most powerful chain that exists. It governs more of your decisions than you dare admit. Fear of losing, fear of being rejected, fear of being insignificant, fear of failing, fear of yourself. And this fear creates the grand illusion that you must control everything, your relationships, your career, your image, your reputation. But the cruel irony is this: the more you try to control, the less control you truly have. You micromanage your partner, and love suffocates. You try to control your reputation, and authenticity disappears. You try to control success, and life laughs in your face. Because control is not freedom. It is slavery wearing the mask of safety. Nietzsche warned us, "He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster." And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. When you try to master the world, to dominate every possibility, to defeat every threat, you begin to lose yourself in the process. You become the very thing you fear, trapped, hollow, controlled. Look around you. Almost every system in our society thrives on this illusion of control. Governments promise safety. Religions promise certainty. Corporations promise fulfillment. But behind every promise lies fear. Fear of what will happen if you do not submit, if you do not obey, if you do not buy what they sell. The entire machinery of modern life is built upon keeping you anxious, insecure, desperate to control an uncontrollable world. Yet history shows us that the greatest transformations of the human spirit were never born from control. They came from surrender, from those rare individuals who accepted chaos, who embraced uncertainty, who learned to walk into the storm without demanding the sky to clear. The Stoics knew this truth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, faced plague, war, betrayal, and death. And yet, he wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Even as the most powerful man in the world, he understood that control over the external world is an illusion. The only control worth pursuing is mastery of oneself. Viktor Frankl, who endured the horrors of Nazi concentration camps, reached the same conclusion. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Surrounded by death and cruelty beyond comprehension, Frankl discovered that even when stripped of everything, man still holds a final freedom, the freedom to choose how to respond. So why do we resist this truth? Why do we cling so desperately to the fantasy of control? Because surrender terrifies us. We mistake surrender for weakness, when in reality it is the highest form of strength. To surrender is not to give up, it is to accept reality as it is, and still choose courage. Imagine standing in front of the ocean. You could spend your life trying to fight the waves, to stop the tide, to control the storm, or you could learn to swim. You could surrender to the ocean, not as a victim, but as one who finally understands. The waves will never obey you. They were never meant to. The same is true of life. Pain will come. Loss will come. Chaos will come. No matter how many walls you build, no matter how many plans you make, no matter how tightly you cling to the illusion of safety, the storm will still arrive. And when it does, the question is not, how do I stop it? The question is, how will I face it? You cannot control the world. You cannot control the future. You cannot control how others think, feel, or act. But you can control yourself. You can control your choices. your discipline, your values, your response. That is where true freedom lies. Consider this. When you stop chasing approval, you begin to live authentically. When you embrace uncertainty, you discover courage. When you learn to live with chaos, you uncover resilience. The chains of control loosen, and for the first time, you breathe as a free human being. But freedom is not comfortable, it is not easy. It requires sacrifice, the sacrifice of illusions. You must give up the fantasy that life will ever be predictable. You must give up the comfort of blaming others for your unhappiness. You must give up the lie that safety equals control. Only then will you touch the raw, terrifying, liberating truth. Freedom is not given, it is chosen. This is why so few ever find it. Because most would rather remain slaves to fear than endure the pain of freedom. Slavery is safe. Slavery is familiar. Slavery comes with promises of certainty. But freedom asks you to walk into the unknown with nothing but your mind and your courage. And yet, those who choose it discover something extraordinary. They discover that life's meaning does not come from controlling it, but from engaging with it, from embracing the struggle, from finding purpose not in what happens, but in how they respond to what happens. That is why surrender is not weakness. It is power. The power to remain calm in the storm. The power to endure suffering without losing hope. The power to live fully, even when life refuses to be tamed. So ask yourself, are you truly free? Or are you chained by invisible fears, by rules you never questioned, by illusions you mistake for truth? If you want freedom, you must stop seeking control. You must turn inward, and reclaim the only power you will ever truly have, the power over your own mind. Because in the end, freedom is not found in controlling the world. It is found in mastering yourself.